Well, welcome back to the DCL Podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. I am your host, Lake, and I am joined by my co-host, Christy. Christy, how are we tonight?
I'm good. How are you, Lake?
I am doing very well. As we have just chatted with many of our Patreons, we are very close to our Lighthouse Point cruise.
Yeah, like 5 days. I don't know when this episode's going to air, but I think we'll be on the Lighthouse Point cruise. Or is this going up tomorrow?
This will go up tomorrow.
Well, then there you go. We'll be 4 days away from our Lighthouse Point cruise.
Yep.
And I just got off the Wish today.
Yes, which is what we are here for. And for our Patreons, we are live. So for those that support us, we appreciate you. And you get to chat with us as we record this show, as well as get a little bit of an early preview to it.
And if you are interested in signing up for Patreon, now might be a good time because we have some moles on the mole's the wrong word, but on the preview Lighthouse Point cruise that'll be before ours, and he is going to be getting us content that we will then share with Patreon and snippets that we can share before we actually post them on the feed. But we will try to get the initial Lighthouse Point information up on the feed as soon as possible, but yeah, if you're a Patreon, you should get it a little bit sooner.
Yes.
Videos.
Yep, and the plan for our sailing is that we're actually going to upload some of our snippets like day by day. So you guys will also get that early, and then it'll still get strung together into a regular episode. But turning towards this Wish sailing, Christy, I think you had a special reason for wanting to book a sailing 1 week before we go on an absolute grand adventure of a sailing. So
Yeah.
what made you book this 3-night Wish sailing?
So the cruise we booked, Lake, we booked on opening day. So a year and so many months ago. And then, as some of you listeners know, Disney changed the ages for who can attend the Oceaneer Club. My son is 10. He lives in the Oceaneer Club when we're on a cruise. Even as a 10-year-old, he lives in it. He's actually 10 and like 9/10 or something, right? His birthday is this week. And so we are cruising 2 days after his birthday, where he will turn 11 and he will no longer be allowed in the Oceaneer Club except for open house. So when that news came out, he was devastated, fell into a pile of tears. And so we looked at our schedule. We thought his school year ended the day of Memorial Day weekend, the Friday before. So we didn't want his like end of 5th year in his elementary school to be missed to go on a cruise, or for us to have to arrive super late because of his end of the school year. Like maybe he misses a little tiny bit of time and we arrive. So we booked it for this past weekend so that he didn't have to miss any school. He didn't miss any school during the school year because we didn't really have anywhere else to put this cruise. And so now we have cruises 5 days apart from each other.
Sounds like a good problem to have.
I know. Yeah, not so bad at all.
Yes. Well, why don't we get into it? 3-night on the Wish, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, stops in Nassau and Castaway Key. What did you guys... Actually, let's start with what kind of stateroom did you book for this one?
We booked a veranda and we ended up on deck 8 and actually got a bump out cabin. So midship, deck 8, just a little bit. We were by the forward elevators. Aft, forward. We were by the forward elevators and we were just maybe 5 doors or 6 doors down from when you walk in from the elevator bank area. So it was really nice.
Very cool. Well, Christy, any problems with embarkation or any of that?
No, and actually, I did want to talk about it. It was almost the opposite of problems. It was like
smooth.
Smooth. And I was trying to think of a different word that just escaped me at this moment, but there was hardly a line. Whenever we have been arriving late, where we'll arrive at like 1:30 or 2, the line to get your car to the parking lot and to drop off your luggage or whatever, so backed up and so long. We would wait in this line for like 25 minutes, and there was like 4 cars in line and just nobody. Then the parking garage was empty. So, I assume that's because all the schools in the rest of the country basically still have a week left or 2 weeks left. So there's probably less people on the fantasy, less people on the wish. So the parking lot was empty. God, it was all so quick. We had an 11:30 arrival time and we got to the port at like 11. Well, we got out of, we walked in the door to go through security at like 11:35. It was just, there was one family in front of us in line for security. It was super easy.
Awesome. Love that. Well, we embark on the Wish. Where did we head for lunch?
So, I'm team sit down restaurant, but on the Wish, you just have to see what's happening at Festival of Food, or whatever the heck it's called. I was calling it Food Fair on the Instagram, but I definitely looked that up and it was wrong. But so we went up there, and because we got on the ship so quickly, so boarding hadn't started when we made it into the cruise terminal. So they had to go through all the sections, and we were boarding group number 9. And so we had a little bit of time. Like, we looked at the ship. Blake and I took a picture, at some of those little faces they have around the room. And they got through boarding very quickly, but it was still early. It was before noon, I believe. It was before noon when we got on the ship. So we got up to Food Fair. I'm just going to call it something different every time, I'm sure. But right at noon or just before noon, and I think it was opening that day, maybe at noon for the crossover day. There was like nobody anywhere. There was nobody at Donald's Cantina. There was nobody at the barbecue. There was nobody. So we all got food, and there was a really nice breeze, which in the summer you typically are not going to have in Florida, but it was a beautiful breeze. So I would check. We ate outside. We got our food so quickly. It was it was delicious. I had Donald's Cantina. I loved it. Oh, and they have a gluten-free wrap now, a gluten-free, dairy-free, like paleo. It's got no grain in it. I'm not sure what it's made of. Oh, I do know what it's made of, but make all the jokes about this grain-free wrap. But if you want to have a taco wrap, like a burrito wrap, instead of a bowl, they have a soft shell now for you. So that's exciting.
Cool, cool. Well, what were our plans for the rest of our embarkation day?
Well, we kind of didn't know what to do because it had been so long since we've arrived so early on a ship. So we sat around for a while, honestly, and then it occurred to me to check to see if we were seated with other people, because as a party of 3 now, and this is, I guess, important if there's somebody with an allergy, or my snarky comment is an aversion to people. If you're a party of 3, they're going to put you in a table with a party of 3. It's going to be a party of 6, and you're going to join one table. And we've seen this now on a couple of cruises. And so the writing was on the wall. Now, before the cruise, I had requested a table alone. I did not request a dining rotation at all, just a table alone. But I wanted to see if we got a table alone. So I actually went to go in search of the dining people, which when we were all on the Wish, it was at Luna. And a couple of times later, it was at Luna. So I actually went by Luna, and there was not a person to be had. So then I was walking and found an officer, and she's like, "Oh, it's in Arendelle." So I went to Arendelle, and Arendelle is where the sit down dining restaurant was. So then she said, "Oh, I think it's in Roy Disney." So I went to Roy Disney, and they were definitely not having any meetings of any kind there. And I'm pretty sure Walt Disney was where the concierge lunch was. So if you're concierge, you would go there. So then the guy's just like, "Oh, yeah, it's not here." And I said, "Well, can you call somebody?" He's like, "Well," I'm like, "Please, this is the 4th place that I've been. And not that I don't love to walk around this beautiful ship, but I would really like to know where to go at this point." So it was at Triton's, which is across from Luna, which is where I started my journey. So if you need to talk to the dining people, either to try to get Palo, or to change your dining rotation, or to confirm your table or any of those things, if you need to pre-order your meal because you have multiple allergies for that first day, as of right now, it is at Triton's. And there was no line there either. I want to say maybe it was 1:30 when I finally made it over there. And so we were going to be at a table with others. I explained, with my food allergies, it just is it makes it difficult because I don't even usually sit next to my own son because like kids tear off bread and things go everywhere. So I'm either sitting next to my son or like I'm not going to put my son next to a stranger. So it doesn't matter. But either way, I prefer to not be at a 6 top. If it was a 4 top connected to a 4 top, then I could work whatever. So they said, no problem. We will get you to a table. Just refresh your app before dinner, which I did. And we had a table of 4 for the rest of the weekend and it worked out just fine. And then our dining server was the dining server that we had like on our cruise a year ago, 2 years ago, I guess. 2 years ago. Oh my gosh. And he remembered us right away. So you guys, this is, I guess, part of my stories. I jumped now to dinner, but we're going to sit there for 1 second. The dining room, we were walking to our table. We had Marvel the first night, and we can go back to how dinner was later, whatever. We can group dinner, dining in all together later. But we were walking to the table. Somebody else was showing us to our table. And our server yelled out, David. And Dave turned around. And it was the server from 2 years ago. Do you think they get like pictures of our faces? Because like concierge does. But he knew who Dave was from a list of who's sitting in his section and us walking through the restaurant. And to make the leap that says, this is the David that I served 2 years ago, I mean, it was just remarkable.
I shook my head no, but actually thinking about it, yes, we do upload a picture.
Right.
And I'm sure that is accessible.
I don't know for sure if they do. And you're right, they might look at it ahead of time. But like to yell out like his name, it was just, I want to stay on this subject for 1 second.
We can roll with it.
Because when at one point I left my cabin later that day, so we eventually get to our cabin. It's lovely. It's fine. But I eventually leave our cabin to go do something. I don't even know what. And I'm walking out the hall. I'm alone. And the room steward says, oh, Christy, how was everything? He was like 4 or 5 cabins down. How he even knew exactly which cabin I walked out of. And I had never met him yet. And he also addressed me by name from walking out of a cabin that he wasn't anywhere near. And actually, he was further than 4 cabins away. So when I say that the crew, and I haven't said this, I guess, out loud to you in this recording, but the crew were amazing. The crew were amazing on this cruise. Like some of the best ever. But it called out my name. He was like down the hall doing something. And Dave did say that he had met them, like he and Blake, while we were doing something. And so, I don't know, it was just, it gives you all the Disney cruise touchy-feelies. It's like, people always say the crew is what Disney Cruise Line is about. And I kind of think the crew is what Disney Cruise Line is all about.
I think you're 100% right. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing we missed when we did Norwegian last year.
Yeah. And other cruise lines, we've had good crew, and we've even had crew that have been memorable or remembered us or all the things. But yeah, like this crew is good. Okay, so let's get back on track. We change our dining time. I don't know how you want to do it. I think we eventually, go get our cabin because that's going to happen next. Dave takes a work call. So he's like, I'm on hold or I'm on listening to work call. I'm like, we're on vacation. I mean, it's a 3-day vacation. It doesn't really count, but so yeah, then we see our room and ask me a question so I can come up with an answer.
Well, we'll keep going with the evening. Did we do the sail away party?
No, we didn't do the sail away party, but I think, and I don't entirely remember why, except that we don't always love large crowds of people. But Dave went up to get us water, and I don't remember what Blake and I were doing at that moment, but he went up to get us water and he goes, "Oh yeah, no. This wouldn't have been for us." It was very crowded. Apparently because the weather was so nice, everybody did the sail away party.
Oh, I
Uh,
like that sail away party though.
I know.
Got some deep cuts in that one.
Well, and there's cute stuff. And maybe next week you'll make us go with you.
I'll go to the sail away party. It's
And
different, but I'll go.
if you make us go, we'll go. Oh, that afternoon too, before we went to our room, Blake and I ran around or ran through the kids club and like did the open house and registered him and checked it out. And we actually ran up to Edge too. And I took a picture of like the initial schedule at Edge, which if somebody wants it, I can share it. And I'll put it in the show notes for the show. But also, we went to Vibe and did the same thing. We took a picture of those show notes. It's amazing how large the Vibe space is and how small the Edge space is on the Wish. So I'll be curious to see it on other ships because I haven't really fully paid attention. Oh, you know what else I did that afternoon? I went and got a chocolate espresso martini.
Espresso
That's what it was.
martini.
Espresso martini. And it was like one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. I met Ari at the Wishing Star. He was my favorite. I actually think he cut me in front of somebody else. And all I did was like praise his drink the day before and give him a little extra, like a couple extra dollars tip. But I'm almost certain that when I went the next day to get a different drink, he was like blending somebody's drink for 15 minutes, it seemed, and just made my drink in the middle of it. So I was, thanks, Ari. But it was really good. You guys have to go to see Ari. You have to get the espresso martini. It was so good. And I did ask him about ingredients, and he made a couple of modifications to make sure for me it was gluten free. And at least, I mean, they distill it, blah, 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 boring, boring. But I want to make sure my stomach is in its best condition, and I had no issues.
Good. Did you guys do the show that night?
We did. It's my favorite show. But let me say one more thing we did that afternoon. I'm looking through my pictures now to figure out what we've done. But we did Disney Uncharted. Uncharted.
Uncharted Adventures.
Yes, that. Okay, with the words. Words are hard. Uh yes. So Blake and I did that, and I think that's what we were doing as part like leading up to the sail away party, and maybe that's part of what we were doing during that time. And so it was actually cute. Like we didn't get far enough to um like make it to the end, and fortunately Blake didn't request to go to the end, but it was a really cute game.
Oh, interesting. I don't think we've had a ton of people talk about it. Feels like they made a big deal about the launch for it, and then they like kind of soft launched it, and it never really like anything happened after that.
And it didn't work for a bunch of people.
Yep.
And then it also didn't like, so there's a thing you can go to at the end, and you can on your, I want to say the last day. So there's some kickoff party. One of our listeners will report hopefully in a comment somewhere and tell us about that. But so there's more to it. But even the running around seeing the different areas in the ship is fun. A tip if you're going to do it, because we couldn't figure it out quite at first, you have to get really close to scan to make the wishing star thingy pop up. So you think that you're close enough for the scan, but you're not. So get closer. That's my tip.
Interesting. And how was CC Adventure?
It's the best show ever. I really need Disney to actually take some of those songs
Variety shows?
well, variety shows, but the songs in there. So you know how they mash up some different songs, and then there's the oh whatever, the goofy singing, how he's gonna I can't think of the word right now, but go with the flow. go with the flow, whatever. They need to sell those, and I will pay $1.29 on iTunes or whatever it's cost for music these days and buy them because they're catchy and cute and I would like to listen to them. And I maybe would have tried to record one of the songs as a voice memo for my own personal enjoyment, but there was a cast member standing behind me for the entirety of the good parts of the songs. So I couldn't make my phone go to voice recording to record because she was right behind my back. People talked about not getting seats too in the shows and having a hard time, and you have to get there super early. I would say that Dave and I arrived like Blake did not go. He was at the kids club. Dave and I arrived maybe 15 or 20 minutes early. We sat in the upper section, whatever the upper floor is, and got great seats at the aisle. Almost all of the aisle seats were available at that time and zero problems. But there were lots of families of like 5 and 6 that showed up like 5 minutes before the show and were shocked that they didn't have a seat. So just show up and get a seat. Like show up early if you have a large party that you want to sit together. So, but we didn't talk about dinner fully. Like we talked about getting sat, but we were at Marvel that night. Blake and Dave still love the show. I still laugh, but I do get out my book sometimes now that's on my phone and read a little bit during some of it because it's repetitive, but the food, like I didn't want to not go to dinner with my family, but when they're watching certain parts, especially towards the end, I guess you guys, I don't want to spoil it, but there's like more fighting or something and less of the cute Marvel man that I then don't need to listen to that. And that's when I read. But dinner was fine.
Do you feel like the quality of the Marvel restaurant has increased at all? I feel like both times I've gone there, it's been like the most mid of most rotational dining restaurants.
Yeah, I think the food has actually gone up there. I actually like that restaurant's food better than Arendelle personally for myself. But so yes, I think the food has improved. And now they do have a character that comes out at the end of the meal. And so I think that's really exciting for the children. So, yeah, like I think it's better. And the show is cute. And so especially for people, remember I have not seen one Marvel movie. So that definitely the only thing I know about Marvel is from Lego Marvel, which I feel like I tell you guys every single time we talk about Marvel. So it's literally it. It's all I know about it. And so, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But also my book was really good.
Good. Well, we do dinner, we see the show. Did we get up to anything else that evening?
No, Blake stayed. Oh, Dave and I actually went shopping right after the show and walked through the store. So, which is a good tip if you are in first dining and you go to the show because people will like meander or they'll go shopping in between the dinner service, which it's pure chaos in there. So avoid that if you can help it. We went right after, we swung through and then went back to the room and read and listened to watched the most beautiful sunset. Oh my god, it was so good. So we were on the starboard side of the ship. So keep that in mind if you are right now. And because it's summer, you know, sunset's a little bit later. And then that would have been before Seize the Adventure per my picture. But we also just went back to the room after as well to read.
All
We
right.
were really into reading on this trip.
Well, that is okay. As we've said before, cruising is choose your own adventure, and you can choose to chill and relax, which I think will be a theme for this three
It
night
is.
sailing of you.
Yeah, and just for people to know, we're going to give you splatterings of tips and things like that, but if you want to know what we got to around the ship, we got to nothing around the ship. But my husband and I each read a book. And to us, that was joyful. And we listened. So we had the veranda door open for all of the sailing portions, like until we went to bed. And just if the ship was sailing, we would keep the door open. And the breeze was great. It was really great. Like it wasn't too hot yet. So it was really nice. So we took advantage. Ooh, that first night, I pre-ordered because I knew I was running at Castaway. I pre-ordered churro waffles for myself. I don't think that the Wish is doing churro waffles as a general rule all on a 3-night sailing right now, but they let me pre-order them. I asked questions and they asked which day, and they basically said anybody can pre-order a churro waffle if they'd like. So you all can do this. And it was one of the best foods I've ever eaten in my life. Oh my God. It was lightly fried. It had a lovely cinnamon sugar coating. It was delightful.
Cool, cool. Well, we wake up for day 2 and we are in Nassau, right?
Yep. So I had churro waffles. This day
Eh,
involves a lot of eating.
That's okay. Let's
Mhm.
get into it.
So that morning was for people that are interested, the princess meet and greet. And I believe the Castaway morning they do it as well. But that I feel like was the bigger one. So that was happening around the ship. My family was sleeping. Blake was sleeping, actually. I went by myself to have my breakfast and I ordered and got it very quickly. I then sat Blake must went to the kids club very early because he's not around me. But I went and I don't know why exactly I was sitting like this is why. I had my breakfast and I went and got coffee because I tried to drink the included coffee at Marceline Market and it was the weakest coffee. You guys know I'm always up for good included coffee, but this had no coffee in it. I don't know what the brown water they were serving, but it didn't provide any wake up coffee sensations. So I went back to Ari at my Wishing Star Cafe and I bought coffee. Then I walked because Captain Minnie was taking pictures. So I actually stopped and took pictures of Captain Minnie. The cameraman was like, "Oh, what's your room number?" I'm like, "No, I won't. I don't need a picture of me with Captain Minnie because I am not in any way photogenic at the moment, but I wanted pictures of her." So I was able to get pictures of Captain Minnie, and then Donald was like right up after that. Dave came and met me at this point. Then like Pluto, there were just so many characters with such little lines. So if you are interested in seeing characters, the evenings of the Wish are so crowded. You should go if you can the Nassau morning, because there were very little lines. And they were like bam, 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 good characters after good characters. And then plus all the princess ones downstairs. And then we had to shower and get cleaned up. Oh, first, yeah. So we had to shower and get cleaned up, which we did. And then we had to pick up Blake from the kids club and get him lunch because this was Apollo brunch day. So we had Apollo brunch at noon. They do not feed kids in the kids club right now. So, and I don't know if they're ever going to bring that back. Although they still ask you if your kids have food allergies, but they don't actually feed the children. And then I learned about what is happening with the 3 and 4-year-olds. So I will talk about that in a second. But we went and got Blake food. He does like a little moment of watching TV with his lunch when he can. So we brought him to the cabin. He watched those Mickey shorts that he absolutely loves on the TV and ate hot dogs from Food Fair and French fries and had himself a happy little time. And then we dropped him back off at the kids club, or he took himself. He can take himself to the kids club now. So we would pick him up because he wasn't always checking his phone to see come up and come back to the room. So he took himself back there. And then we went to Palo.
And how was Palo?
Oh my God, it was so good. I I guess a pro tip of the not maybe as good, they did make me, I mean, it was fine. They made me gluten-free French toast because one of my friends had gluten-free French toast the week before, but I didn't ask her if it was good. And while it was the sweetest thing ever for them to make me gluten-free French toast, it was not good. So I would tell people, like, the flavor was amazing, but it was not cooked. So I'd tell people not to order that. But oh my God, we ate so much amazing food. We also had another server that we've had before. We had Sasha, who we had he came to the conclusion we had in on the Wonder the year before in Alaska, and he was just so determined to figure out. He's like, "No, I'm almost certain it was the Wonder, and yep, it would have been Alaska." And da-da. So, and then he brought us extra prosecco during the meal, which was nice. So sometimes it's nice to have your same server again, because prosecco is included. You get your first glass included with your meal when you're at brunch. Oh my god, we ate so much. I had eggs Benedict, the chicken parm was breaded for gluten free, and like the best breading ever. It was so good. Dave loved it. So we really, really, really loved our meal. They were able to make the eggplant meal for me gluten free, and it's called something with the long name that I can't quite remember. But that one is breaded for everybody else. Mine was not breaded, which is not a big deal at all. So, and then we ate, like Dave ate lasagna. Oh, we had the antipasti plate. So it was really good. I was so full though, so full that I feel like there was another dish we ordered that I can't find in my phone right now. So and then we had dessert that I actually canceled our dinner, my dinner when we got to Arendelle. I ordered a few things and I was just like, I just want the salad and then and that is it, because the starter salad, because I was so full still from because I had breakfast, which I didn't eat a lot of breakfast, but I did have breakfast, and then I had brunch. So, yeah, I was not interested in eating anymore. It was a lovely day of dining.
Weird question. Do you know who the chef at Palo was?
Mar Ma
Mateo?
it was an M and it ended in a vowel, but I'm pretty sure there was more letters in the middle, because I actually thought about that, because didn't we have Mateo before and he makes his own olive oil, or it's not olive oil, it's the vinaigrette. And I don't it this chef had more letters.
Gotcha. I'm always curious whenever we go. I like to
Yeah.
try to ask.
Well, he came out. He was coming to the tables and we were just like, "Oh, your chicken parm was so good." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you liked it." Da, da, da. There was definitely something else that we got at that same time that, gosh, I just don't remember what it was, because we were like, why do we have so much food? But it was so good. It was all so good.
Interesting. Cool. Well, moving on with your day then.
Yeah, I don't have any pictures. Oh, yeah. You know what we did? We went to the room and read into a nap.
It's a good plan.
Brunch took quite a while, and which we weren't in a hurry. We didn't want it to not take a while. We had nothing else to do. So that was the day of slothery. I mean, the whole trip was, right? But yeah, we took, that wish bed and the wish bedding. There is nothing as lovely as that. And so we took advantage of it. We took a big giant nap. Well, Dave doesn't take naps, but I did, and it was glorious.
That I can't believe that we did Palo brunch and dinner on the same
On the
day. Just
same
thinking
day.
about how
Well,
tired and full you are after a brunch.
but we went earlier.
It
But
wasn't
we
that much
couldn't have been
earlier.
that much earlier because we had to feed Blake.
And we were also there for like 3 hours for
The most
brunch.
amount of time. That whole day, we spent the entire day in Palo that day.
That's true.
It was a really fun. That was a really fun cruise and a fun day and a fun dinner.
Yes, that's just what made me think of that, is turning around and going to dinner then. All right. Well, speaking of dinner, we should
Yes,
have
so
Arendelle.
we did. We had a pretty decent table. It's very crowded in there. I mean, it's just very crowded in these Wish restaurants. Um, I would say that the performers at Arendelle weren't quite as, their voice didn't quite carry as much as I had seen on other cruises. And so even at a close table, it made it hard to understand some of the songs. Um, and they did change up a little bit of the flow of like the talking parts. So there were some changes, but my salad was very good. You know what else though, you guys? I ordered potatoes. So I ended up canceling my dinner. And I think even when I ordered my dinner originally, I didn't really order an entree because nothing looked that great. I knew I was going to Palo, and so I just didn't get a lot. There are these duck, I can't find the menu, but these duck fat potatoes that are a part of one of the meals at Arendelle. And oh my God, they were good. And actually, I had canceled even the potatoes from that meal, but the server was like, oh, but they got cooked. So I just brought them to you. And I'm so glad he did. They were so good. So I would tell you to get, because you guys know I'm a good lover of potatoes. So get the duck fat potatoes when you go to Arendelle. That is my hot tip for you.
Which Olaf did you get?
We got the best Olaf I've ever seen. So he was on the cart, but he was a little bit larger, but not ridiculous. And his mouth moved like a lot. Like I took video of it actually, and I will post a reel at some point at Peck Your Pixie Dust because his mouth moved a lot. Like I literally watched him for one of his songs and recorded just him because it was astonishing. And Blake is taking a bath, by the way, next door, watching those Mickey shorts because he learned that he can watch them on Disney Plus. He's doing that right now, and he is giggling. So, oh my God, I hate those things. They're so, they're just noise. I did figure out it is my double fried duck confit potatoes are from the juniper spiced roasted, this is a tongue twister, chicken breast. So, potatoes. Get those potatoes with one of your meals. You can thank me later.
Whole meal sounds good, to be honest.
Right? I was actually going to get that meal. I had ordered that meal and then canceled it. But they, like I said, already had made me potatoes. So they were just like, oh, we just brought her the potatoes. Like, okay, thanks. Oh, I just saw in another picture. Here's a funny thing from the stores. They have the 25th anniversary polo shirts that nobody could get last summer and wanted. The DCL 25th. There's a ton of them on the ship. So if you're looking, one of our listeners actually loves those. And had wanted one last summer and was like, if you see it and in the fall, if you could get it for me. But he didn't want it now, the 26th year of DCL. So
Isn't
there
that
you go.
such a like Disney
Thing, right?
shopping thing?
You can't get the thing you want until a year later.
And then you don't want it.
And then you don't want it.
There's a different popcorn bucket that you need.
Exactly.
All right. Well, did we see the show after dinner?
Oh, like we didn't see the show, and I really wanted to go to, this was Pirate Night. I really wanted to go because I don't know when I'll be on the Wish again to see the 80s concert, also known as Pirate Night. And I could not make myself get out of bed. Like we went back to listen to music again and to listen to the waves and to have the breeze come through and read our book. Oh, my book was so good. I could not put it down. But I could not get myself to go upstairs to participate in that Pirate Night. But we were on the starboard side and I could see the fireworks once they went off, which was at 10:34. And so I watched
Perfect
the
timing.
fireworks. Like I got out of bed, at least went to the banister. Blake wouldn't even, he was back by then. He wouldn't even get out of bed That boy was tired. To go to the veranda in our room to watch the fireworks. Oh, but this was super cute. Goofy was down on deck, whatever deck could open up now, deck 5, was down on deck 5 watching the fireworks. Pirate Goofy was, and then like some little kids like were up there watching, like came around. There was a photographer too, and they were watching the fireworks with Goofy. It was adorable.
That is
I've
pretty
never
cool.
seen that before. So there you go.
Well, moving into our last full day, this is our Castaway Key Day. What did we get up to on the island?
So first, Blake slept in. This boy hasn't slept in like a month. We don't know what his problem was. He hasn't been sleeping. And on this day, I think he slept until like 9 o'clock or something crazy like that. So I went and had a small breakfast. Oh, I went and got coffee. And then I went and had a small breakfast at 1923. I wasn't sure what I was going to do about the breakfast situation, but I knew I was going to run. So I just wanted something. And I got an omelet and a sausage, and it came out very quickly, very quickly. And, it had to be special ordered. And so 1923 breakfast worked out really well. They were getting the lobby, the atrium, the grand hall, I guess that's what we're calling it, ready for a wedding. So I sort of wish, and they had it all closed off where you couldn't like pass. I wish that I could have stayed because I love me a good wedding, a Disney wedding, but I didn't get to do that. But there was a wedding, so that was exciting. And then I got dressed and ready to go for my run.
And how was our Castaway 5K?
Hot. I think I texted you guys that.
You did.
So some pro tips. If you are inclined and you have a cell service that allows you to do it pretty easily, I turned cellular on the island, and like through Verizon, I think AT&T is the same. You just pay $10 for your day and you can have cellular, and you can do it for 24 hours. So like what Dave did is he turned his cellular on at like 2 o'clock on Nassau Day. So we got a couple of hours of cellular on that day because it's 24 hours in the same like out of country place. So then he could have it until 2 o'clock the next day. Now, obviously, when you go off to sea, most of that time you don't get access to the cell tower, but you can look for, and I posted this on Instagram, you can look for land. And if you see land, you might hit a cell tower. So like in the evening when we left Castaway, we actually, you cruise by Freeport forever, it seems. And while we were kind of far away, I was able to be online for like another hour and a half using Freeport's cellular as we were cruising away. So double check. So anyway, I turned on my cellular right when I got off the ship, and or at least access it, and I set my GPS to start going, and I start my run from the ship because I've talked about it before. It's a good 3/4 of a mile or 0.65 before you even get to the bike barn, which is where technically the 5K starts. And you can take a tram and you can do the things, but we always just walk the island. And so start early and and get your miles started right away. But Daisy was out with her new outfit, and I got to see her. Like, I actually didn't start my run quite yet because she was at the post office. And so I walked up, and I'm pretty sure they were going to swap Daisy out for Donald, but I just was like, he was like your key card, and he was saying something, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a selfie. And I just like walked up and took a picture of her and took a selfie. And I think that wasn't supposed to be happening, that I think I was supposed to get Donald, but I didn't notice that was happening until the end. But then Donald and Daisy kissed. It was adorable. And then I went on did my run and left. But I'm pretty sure I sort of stole taking a picture with Daisy, and I wasn't supposed to. And then I did my run, and I took a bunch of pictures and videos, and I'm going to try to put that in a reel at some point so that people can see sort of what you can look at when you're on the bike barn. bike path. And then when you're done, you just go and pick up your own medal. So, like, you don't have at the bike barn. This is where the bike barn comes in. You don't have to. I mean, you know this, like, but for the listeners, you don't have to run the path they tell you to. You could do whatever you want. Like sometimes because there's a good amount of shade, it's like not very airy, but there's good shade in the what is that path called?
The Serenity Path or the bike path?
The bike path. Well, there you go. It's the bike path. So instead of running on the runway, which is 1,000 degrees because it's almost all in the sun. Now, I did go on the runway this time, at least to Serenity and back, but you can just stay in the bike path. You could do whatever you want. There are no rules. It's your own race.
Yeah,
So,
another good option. As I just mentioned, you can go down the Serenity Path if you run all the way down to Serenity Bay, and that path is usually really good and shaded. And
if you're early enough, which I was not, was part of the problem.
well, big oof for you.
I know. You could get off the ship as early as 8:30, and I did not get off the ship till 9:30, and there was still a path. And remember, guys, on that runway, there isn't like a lane that you have to follow. I mean, be respectful of people, but I ran in the shade on the way back too. There's like a tiny strip of shade. And obviously, I would run around people that were going in maybe the right direction. But yeah, I was gonna stay in the shade, not go across the road that was in full sun.
How
So
did
there you
we
go.
spend the rest of our Castaway Day?
We played in the water. The water was actually not as warm as I thought it was going to be. It was refreshing and lovely, but it wasn't hot, which sometimes, it can get. And it wasn't freezing. So it was like actually it was perfect. It was Goldilocks water. So it was like refreshing but not freezing. And so we swam. Blake played in the sand and he was doing that when we always like Dave and Blake left the ship but round maybe shortly after I started running or something, and we always sort of designate the area we're going to be. And so I was able to just meet up with them and find them. We didn't all leave the ship at the same time. We had lunch. We sat some more. Blake went to the kids club in the afternoon actually after lunch for like an hour and a half. And so I like rested a little. I didn't sleep, but Dave and I went swimming some more. It was just like really easy and nice. In the afternoon, we did get a drink like right before lunch. And the waiter, there was a little bit of a thing like we were lied to. But so just a story I want to tell the listeners. The waiter told Dave that he had to get the alcoholic drink and a coconut. Like it was either a coconut or a plastic cup, which it's not really a plastic cup, it's a coffee cup. And the regular plastic cups that we've always gotten a drink at Serenity, he said wasn't available. So he buys this coconut that's like 10 extra dollars. And again, you guys, I will buy a concierge room, but I don't want to pay $10 for a cup to put my drink in that I don't want to have in the first place. Like, I don't want to take a coconut home. What am I going to do with coconut? So he tells Dave, and Dave asked like several times, like, I have to have it. There's no other cup. There's not another way to get this drink to my wife. No, for alcohol, you have to have it in like either a coconut or what's that other one? The bamboo, whatever that bamboo guy is, the other cup. So Dave's like, whatever. The guy says coconut's cheaper. So the guy also says, yeah, but you'll get more alcohol. You'll get more drink in it if it's in the coconut. So Dave's like, whatever, fine. So we order it. He actually comes back, doesn't even bring Blake and Dave's drink. And they're the ones that really wanted it. I was like not even there when they ordered it. I was out in the water. So he has to go back. It takes like 15 minutes. Whatever. We get our drinks, we drink them. It's at lunchtime. But after lunch, I am like annoyed about this $10 coconut. And the guy says it holds more alcohol. So Dave and Blake drink their drink because they share a virgin strawberry daiquiri. So I take water and I fill it up into their drink, like to the top where they said it was, and I pour it into the coconut. And it's like the same amount of space in both the coconut where the guy said there'd be more, and the like carry coffee cup type cup that they put Dave's drink in. And so he lied. So then I went up to the bar that's like right by Cookies One. I don't know what any of these bars are called. And I just said, I just have a question. If you buy an alcoholic beverage on the beach, do you have to buy it in like a coconut or whatever this other bamboo cup is called? And the guy's like, no. And I said, well, that's what my husband was told. And then I said, and then he said that it had more alcohol or more drink in it, like it could fit more, and that we showed. And then he goes, no, and these are the other cups. So then they were like, they wanted to know how much each of the cups held. So like the other cups that alcoholic drinks could go in, we were like sampling and pouring them all into the different cups. And apparently it's all basically the same, which is not a surprise probably to anybody. But the guy like didn't put our ticket all the way through, so it wasn't on there. So I just said, look, I just wanted to tell you about this experience. What, it's not a big deal, except that like I didn't want to be charged for a coconut that I didn't really want. So anyway, they say, I just say, okay, just wanted to tell you, I wanted to find out if it was real, like, so I know for the next time. So listeners, don't believe you have to buy the coconut. You can buy it if you want it, but don't get forced into it. So anyway, at dinner that night, this officer comes up to us and she's like, oh, hi, I'm in charge of beverages. I heard you had a problem at the beach. I was like, oh, I didn't even remember anymore about this issue. So she's like, will you please tell us what happened? And so I said, well, it was with him because she was talking to me. I said, it was really with my husband that the stories were really told. So she gets the story and she's like, I am so sorry. Yes, they should not. It is not required. And I said, yeah, I mean, thank you, whatever. So then she brings us Prosecco and like Blake, that blue fizzy drink that they have that's non-alcoholic for kids. And it's like a specialty, whatever. So they bring us like, can we buy you a round of drinks or bring you a round of drinks or whatever? Which I think the Prosecco is their like, let's have them not be like, it's their recovery drink. That's what I'm thinking of, because I feel like one other time somebody brought us Prosecco that for something that went wrong. So, and then they took away the drink. So I didn't have to buy this dumb coconut, which makes me very happy. Like $36 for 2 drinks, one of which didn't have alcohol and none of them were doubles. So I'm not in New York. I don't need to pay $36 for 2 drinks. So there you go. That's my story of the little bit of drama we had at the beach. But otherwise, the beach day was really perfect. It was like there was breeze, there was sun. I mean, it was kind of a perfect day.
All right. Well, moving back towards the ship, I'm going to guess that dinner is the next thing on the itinerary, which we already hit a little bit on here.
Yeah, so we showered because we all, you need to do that after that beach day. And Blake took a bath, and then he actually went to the kids club for a tiny bit, and then we went to dinner.
And how was 1923?
Oh, but wait, before dinner, I actually had a mini bowl at Donald's Cantina because I didn't end up eating very much lunch on the beach that day. I just didn't eat very much of it. So I did have a little tiny, I'm like, I need you to make me like a quarter of a bowl. They're not very good at making you small things, but they did make it. And so I had like a little quarter bowl, and yes, then we had dinner and it was the best. 1923 has like all the best food. And you know how in other ships you can like order food from any of the menus? I think on the Wish it's harder for them to get to all the different locations. Like the dining room team, they've told us this. It's just the galley is tricky there. So I don't ever want to order from all the different locations. Like maybe I wouldn't feel as bad getting fried brie, especially for my allergy. They have to run to the same place, I think, anyway, to get it. But on this ship, I think it's just trickier. But if I could eat 1923 for 3 days, I would.
Yeah, it's definitely the best of Disney's rotational dining lineup. I do believe, too, they discourage people ordering from there just for the fact that they have filet. And I believe they've discouraged the servers from letting people order the filet every night.
For sure, which makes total sense.
Yep. But moving on then into our final evening, I'm going to spoil it. You didn't go to this show.
We didn't go to the show. We didn't do anything. In fact, we were going to listen to music this day because I was like, we are leaving our cabin. We are not going to just, I like finished my book, although I think I finished the book at nighttime, so that doesn't really count. But I was like, we are going to leave, but we didn't. When Dave and I were walking to dinner, Blake was at the kids club and he was just going to meet us later for dinner. But the music from the bayou sounded great, but it was very loud. And then there was no seating that wasn't like right in front of very loud music at the bayou. So then we're like, well, we can go listen to music, but are we just going to listen to very loud music where you can't even like really relax? It's not just there, it's like in your face. And I didn't want to anymore buy more drinks. Like I didn't want to go to Nightingale's, which is like the piano bar where they have softer music, because I had gotten my platinum Prosecco gift that day. And plus we got extra Prosecco at dinner. So I had plenty of Prosecco. Like I didn't need to go and buy drinks, and I didn't want to go sit in Nightingale's without buying a drink, which is whatever. So we didn't go out that day. I know. Spoiler. Also, I have something else to say about 1923 and apologize for going back, but because you all know that I'm team potato, I always tell you to get the potatoes from the lamb chops, which is like the Delphinese. I don't know how to say that, but it's basically au gratin potatoes. And this time I was not able to get them because they used flour as a binder. So if you're gluten-free and you're used to getting those potatoes, and I pre-ordered them the day before, and I did actually say something to the head waiter because I'm like, you guys took my order. They knew it was coming. They could have made something like it because I've had it on this ship like 6 or 7 times. It was okay. And I said, it's not a big deal. I ate my filet and it was glorious. But I was actually just going to eat the potato at that point and give Dave the filet, but I couldn't because they didn't give me the potato. So anyway, there you go. You can no longer get that potato as of right now if you are gluten-free. And the potato that comes with the chicken is apparently made on a grill unless you pre-order it, and the grill is not safe for somebody with allergies because a whole bunch of other stuff's made on the same grill. So it has to be pre-ordered, and like, so you could sub that potato out that comes with the chicken. I heard it's very good, but it has to be ordered the night before. So sorry about talking about potatoes. I could do a whole podcast about potatoes, tell you the rest on the whole ship.
Best DCL potatoes.
I kind of like that. This show. We can add in Walt Disney World too.
You definitely have some options there then.
Oh, I love potatoes.
Yeah, us too. Potatoes are great. But we have a couple more hours at sea to talk about here before we finish off our cruise. How was our final morning and disembarkation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, besides feeling like I waited entirely too long because my favorite Ari was not at his normal coffee station for a coffee, it was easy. So one of our listeners talked about how DCL had, and I don't know if, everybody listening now has heard this, has facial recognition now at the port. If you have a passport, there's no line. It took 5 seconds. There was a ton of traffic trying to actually cut across the state or to go back to Central Florida. But besides that, like they said, it would take like an hour and 40 minutes or something, 2 hours or whatever to get like to Walt Disney World, which it never takes that long. So I don't know, something to just note because there's construction, right? And stuff like that right now. And it was a Monday, I guess. But it was easy. It was so easy. There was no line to get off the ship. It was like getting on and off was so easy this time. So that was it.
Good. Love it. Well, do you have anything else to add about this sailing before we take it out?
Maybe. It's too bad that we are not editing this because you could just pause it. Oh, yeah. Really quick. The 3 and 4-year-olds right now. So as we know, Disney Cruise Line the Oceaneer Club is now through age 10. So after 10, 11 and the 14, you have to go to the edge. The 3 and 4-year-olds, they're also keeping in a little pod together, like the COVID times where everybody was in a pod. So they are staying together. And I actually watched them, like I was picking up Blake or checking on doing something. I was at the kids club during secured programming. And they like hold on to like a chain and they move through the club with like a chain. And then they actually have little, it's not a real chain, but they keep the kids together. And they did say that if, and then another listener confirmed this, if you have like an older sibling but obviously of Oceaneer Club age, and they want to stay together, that they have additional cast members, crew that can stay with that particular kid that's now going off to be with like the older kids. And then if you have like a 3 or 4-year-old that wants to do a craft and the rest of the kids are playing in that little like Mickey ship area or something, they can send a crew member, a counselor, a kids club counselor, to the craft area with that other kid. And they all the 3 and 4-year-olds have this little like DCL logoed sticker that they'll stick on them for the day. So like they can identify which kids are the 3 and 4-year-olds. But that is definitely something that's different. And I don't know how it's fully working on the other ships. Obviously, they have Andy's room, so on the other ships, but yeah, I don't know because the Wish has all those little rooms that they can section off and lock off and do things like that, but I don't know how it's all working for everybody else. Oh, and then only because we sort of talked about this, if you are doing a Bahamian cruise, really look into the whole internet package situation because DCL's internet is, Lake and I were talking about this before the show, very expensive right now. And like if you want the fastest package, which doesn't even let you watch Netflix, it's 46 or something, $42, 40 something dollars, $42 a day, a 24-hour period. And you can't even watch Netflix. And then the one where you can like post a video and stuff like that is Basic Surf is $28 a day. And so I would say if you have a service that you can just log into, we paid $10 for our Verizon and we had enough bandwidth to get through the whole day. We had good service. So if you are doing a Bahamian cruise, and especially with all these cruises to like Lighthouse Point and double dips and triple dips coming up, maybe look into that instead of using Disney Cruise Lines internet, because it feels very pricey. And that's it. That's the entirety of my notes. Oh, I did record the schedule for the 3-day cruise because there's a lot of people taking 3-day cruises as their first time cruise right now. And so they're trying to figure out, they don't all just sit in their cabin and read. And so they want to like figure out what there is to do. And so I went through and did a screenshot of the entirety of the schedule. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try to do it like over this week or into maybe the beginning of next week, but I will post it as a reel. And I will share it to DCL Podcast and Pack Your Pixie Dust so that you can see them and you can see the schedule. So you can look for those in the coming weeks.
All right. Well, anything else before I take us out then?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, Christy, thank you so much for sharing you and your family's adventure aboard the Disney Wish. And we are going to see you real soon at the end of this week for the Disney Fantasy and Lighthouse Point.
I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm not going to lie. While we were recording this, I fell down the rabbit hole of like looking at Google Maps of Lighthouse. Surprisingly recent pictures. Not going to lie.
Oh yeah, maybe we can put the link on like a good link of some pictures on DCL on Facebook because it's easier to show a link there.
Yeah, you can see like the cabanas are up at the point of this, which makes sense why they also shared those pictures first. And right. Like all the buildings, like structures are there, but they don't have roofs yet in the pictures. Right. We should note that they made an announcement yesterday that Lighthouse is officially ready.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yes. And that was a concern, I think, rumoring around both the inaugural cruises and the preview cruise was, oh, is it going to be ready? Because it's not unlike Disney to not have things ready or
Correct.
have phases of things ready. But it looks like we are good to go here.
And the Bahamas is tough.
Yes.
So to that point, we are going to, we talked about at the beginning, have snippets of, or a little snippet from one of our listeners and one of my friends who's going on the preview cruise to Lighthouse Point, but he's not going to have somebody to interview him, and he's just going to be doing it on his own like we would do a snippet. Steve offered and agreed to host a show when he came back from the cruise, when my friend came back, but Steve's son is graduating from high school, so we're not doing that. Like, I think Wake would kill me, and Steve's brother's in town, so we're just not interrupting Steve. So we're going to give you Lighthouse content before our Lighthouse content, so at least once people are on the island, we get some information. And, it just might not be quite as polished as what we'll put out. I mean, ours might not be that polished either, but what we put out the next week.
Yes. We will have plenty of Lighthouse content, though, both from us. I'm sure when we get back, we will do another live show talking all about this sailing.
And I would, if you have Instagram, even if you don't go there, I would recommend that you follow our accounts. So we'll try to always tag DCL Podcast, but follow our personal accounts too of Pack Your Pixie Dust and Mouse Gen. And then obviously DCL Podcast as well. And just while we're on that Lighthouse Point cruise, just go to Instagram a little bit more. And we'll try to save. We will save eventually. It might not be until we get back, but everything in the bubbles, the story bubbles, but the highlights. But remember that stories fall off after 24 hours. So maybe just go on and look, and then, yeah.
All right. Well, that seems like a great place to take us out. Christy, thanks again for coming on and sharing your cruise. And we will see you all next time on the DCL Podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.